Don't worry, folks. You didn't miss anything last chapter. Back in chapter 10, it was just everybody went home, explained to Goku everything we already knew, explained everything that was going to happen, and it was a setup for this chapter. Exciting, isn't it? Chapter 11. Skeletons from the family closet. Spooky, scary skeletons sending shivers up my spine. Go on! The three members of the Sun family said in unison as they sat standing there in the doorway. Goku immediately sat up from his chair. Go on, listen. He tried to start, but he was cut off from his son. Please don't. Gohan returned harshly. His fists were clenched and he had an angry look on his face. Actually, I think it was more of a pout considering a few chapters ago. We don't hear a word from you for an entire year. Not one word. Then today you come back into our lives and expect everything to be okay. Like our lives were just a movie for you to put on pause. I guess the worst part of it is we forgot it was my birthday. But it was that you came at a party prepared by our family and friends for me. And made it about you. You do realize he didn't see the banner, right? Kind of not his fault. You're blaming him for something he had no control. Because it's always about you, isn't it? Okay, don't listen to me. See what I care. I'm just the guy who's reading your dialogue. I don't give a flip what you're saying, so I'll let everybody else figure out what you're doing. I don't care anymore. You do whatever you like without thinking about the consequences. It's always been this way. Well, tonight I'm saying enough is enough of your self-centered attitude. Gohan was hurt and angered by the things his father had done, and now he was finally getting a chance to express his true feelings. However, not everyone approved of his tone. Me neither, but, I always continue to blame that Gohan doesn't seem to have very much self-motivation to do something. Seriously, 5 seconds, descent's key. You're friends with God! You could have gone up to heaven at any time and said, hey, Dead Day! Find Goku. Son, go on! Titi tried to scold him. She wasn't going to defend her husband's actions, but she wasn't also going to let Gohan talk to his father in that way in their home. This was not the conversation she was expecting them to have. But Gohan was just getting started. He looked at his mother apologetically. Don't you dare, Gohan! Don't you freaking dare look at her apologetically. That bitch has been ruining your life way more than Goku ever has. Who was it that said, oh, Gohan needs to study more because the world's all peaceful and stuff and there's no need to be fighting her? Who was it that said, flip Goku, he's the one who did it anyway and he left my son to fight after he was dead for a year? Her! Who was it that put all her attention on you but ignored Goku? Her! Who was it that never, ever got off her lazy ass to do anything but sit there and whine and bitch and moan? Her! Who was it that never bothered to learn to fly, never bothered to learn how to fight, never bothered to do anything but bitch? Her! Who was it that abandoned her skill at fighting just so that way she could be barefoot and pregnant and pumping out babies? Her! It's always been her. You want to know what my mom would have done if Dad was a fighter and my mom was married to him? My mother wouldn't be... My mom would be out there training alongside with my dad and teaching me how to both become a scholar and a fighter. But, oh, no. Not good enough for you, bitch. It'll never be good enough for you, bitch. And then you decide to basically abandon Goten from being intelligent by teaching him how to fight. Parental favoritism much? Bitch! So no, Gohan. Don't look at her apologetically. Look at her with the exact same scorn you got for Goku right now. Heavens knows I do. He's never taken on any responsibility, especially as a parent. At this point, Fidel had reached the doorway and was next to her husband. Piccolo was close behind her, but maintained his distance from what was occurring in the house. He wasn't there to get involved, but rather his objective was just to keep an eye on Gohan. Goku took the defensive, trying to remain calm under the anxieties his son had just accused him. Gohan, I don't know where all this is coming from. I always tried to do what was best to protect this family and this planet. My first thought has always been the safety of everyone in this room and our friends. I've done and continue to do whatever I can to assure this protection. Okay, if I could give a point on Gohan's side, technically no, but even Goku does that. Goku wouldn't say this, he would just point out, really? Because all I've been doing is just training. Before Gohan could continue, he felt Fidel grab his arm. He wasn't so sure she was to be here for all this. I don't want Pan to be alone in the house after everything that's happened. Can you be here with her while I talk with him? My dad stayed behind with your grandfather. They're taking care of her, Fidel replied. So you could tell he was apprehensive about her being there, but she wasn't budging. He looked at her intensely, flat out asked what he had been thinking. Are you sure you want to be here for this? She gave her an equally intense stare and nodded. She could tell all he wanted to do was protect her, but she refused to leave. No matter what, she was staying by his side. He turned back to his father. The expression of anger and pain returned to his face. You said you've done your best to protect Earth and this family, but all you've done abandoned us time and time again. I repeat, Raditz, no choice. Actually, now that I think about it, but for 4 years, Goku was there plenty of times. So much of my childhood was spent wondering where you were and when you were coming back. I even started to blame myself for your absence. Technically, it was your fault. Thinking it was something I did to make you not want to come back. Goku was taking it back. He never expected his son to say any of the things he just said. It's like he had come back to a different world than the one he had left last year. As Krillin told him, a lot certainly had changed. His expression became more serious as he realized his back and forth between them was just beginning. I never meant for you to blame yourself for my absence. Sorry I wasn't here, but at the time I didn't have a choice. Yes, you did, Gohan promptly gritted his teeth. You chose not to come back after the battle with Frieza, even after the Yardrats healed you. Well, technically, in the proper timeline, Goku was going to do that anyway. He was going to instant transmit and defeat Frieza, but then that would have led to a heart disease and death, and we all know where that was going to lead. And technically, that was the first time. Not only that, but we still don't even know how Goku refused a request for Shenron anyway. You chose not to come back after the battle of Cell. Yeah, and he wouldn't have had to do that. Why? Because of you! You did it, Gohan! You! You chose to leave last year with Oob and not come back until today, a full year later. I did those things one way or another because I wanted to protect this family on this planet. Goku shot back. You still don't get it. Abandonment is not protection! There's something odd about that line, and heavens forbid I don't know what it is. Gohan set his eyes in a moment of frustration, but was quick to open them back up to look at his dad again. You chose what you thought would be the easiest for you. You did it without thinking any alternatives. Your actions left Mom to raise 2 children by herself. How's having complete disregard for any parental responsibilities protection? You remember what Goku said? Do you remember? He said he was basically a target. Remember that, Gohan? You know, Gohan, if you really cared, you could have done this earlier. You could have, you guys could have raised a bigger stink, but no! Goku became silent. He'd never seen his son like this, angry and upset. Surrounded about his son had expressed these emotions, strove his power. Well, this was like something entirely different. He wasn't quite sure how to respond. Gohan took his father's silence as an opportunity to continue. You cannot even begin to imagine the pain you have caused over the years. His voice began to crack as tears started to make his way down his face. Oh God, again! Oh, for Pete's sake! Go on! Stop crying and being a bitch! All I wanted was for us to be a family, but you only wanted to continue fighting. That's why you constantly made decisions that put us more in danger, not less. This is something he had not expressed before to anyone else in the room, and it caught everyone by surprise. Gohan, what are you talking about? Goku questioned. He was very confused what his son was referring to. The Demi-Saiyan scowled. When Trunks came from the future to warn us about the androids, I was suggested to try to stop Dr. Gero before he even created them. But you said no. You had the chance to stop them before they could hurt anyone, but you didn't. You didn't care about your safety. You just wanted to fight them. That's why we trained for 3 years. When instead we should have been searching for Dr. Gero. Or better yet, use the Dragon Balls to find him. Because of your decision, Cell was able to complete his transformation and wreak havoc on the entire world. And now, class, Lesson Burry here would like to point out everything wrong with this paragraph. Enjoy. First of all, Gohan, if it really bothered you this much, if you had a problem, why didn't you and Bulma just do it behind everybody's back? Second, Goku was not alone in this. Everybody else agreed with him. So before you get off your high horse and start blaming Goku for this one event, how about you start blaming Piccolo, Krillin, Vegeta, Tien, Chaozu, yeah, and even freaking Yamcha for doing it? Because they all agreed. You agreed. This makes you complicit in this stupidity. This makes you practically an accomplice. You did it. You! This is all on you! Third, how did anybody know about Cell? Nobody could have known. As far as they were concerned, androids 19 and 20 were it. But then the editor told Toriyama to add things, and we know where that led. Fourth, and I remind you, Goku was less complicit. It was more Vegeta who was doing it. Yeah, I remind you, Vegeta was the one who said he would kill you all if you even tried to bring out the dragon. That's right. Vegeta said that. Do you remember that, Gohan? Because I remember. Bulma said, use the dragon, find Dr. Gero. Vegeta, you do and I'll kill you all. Yeah. 6. Ever seen Minority Report? I know it's a little bit much, but you remember how in that movie everybody was able to protect crimes, but somebody got it wrong? Or even better, Terminator 2. Remember that scientist who was part of Skynet and he found out that he was responsible for dooming the world? Do you remember that line of dialogue he said? It's a very important piece. In case you might have forgotten, here it is. You are damning me for something I didn't do yet! That'd be Dr. Gero. I like this argument because everybody's going, oh, they should have done that, they should have done that. But Goku, for once, is being sensible. Let's go with this plot. You find Dr. Gero, you use the Dragon Balls, and whatever, and he hasn't even started 18 and 17 yet. What are you going to do? Luffy's just sitting there reading a magazine and hasn't come up with his plans yet. Are you going to punch him? Luffy's just not doing anything yet. Are you going to punch him? Tell him, hey, don't make androids. Are you going to kill him? Mind rape him before he has a chance to do anything? The implications of what you're going to do just to make sure that he doesn't do the crime is kind of horrifying when you sit down and think about it. But then again, sometimes when you sit down and think about it, sometimes these preventive measures kind of get scary when you think more and more. Because then it goes from, I'm stopping this, to, what were you thinking? Hell, go on. What makes you so sure that when you beat Dr. he didn't have a backup plan? Also, let's say you do make it, and he's in the midst of making the androids, and you can be so sure he hasn't already made something that could also just kill you, and he leaves, and you guys start the whole process all over again, and he proceeds to hold you guys off for the next 3 years, and he does have stronger androids, but congratulations, you're too weak, because he didn't train! There are just so many delays, your plan could go wrong! Goku's is the most simple! And of course, what's more, you guys didn't put it to a vote. You all went with this plan. And it was all a community agreement. This wasn't just Goku. Hell, why are you blaming Piccolo? You would think the genius over there would know, but no. It's only Goku in your eyes, isn't it, you freaking whiny crybaby? Goku got silent again as he was met with stares from Videl and Goten, who never heard this information before. Really? Nobody talked about this? Nobody said anything? Nobody mentioned this? Nobody talked about it? You know what? Flip it. These plot holes make about as much sense as Chi-Chi. I was wondering why he would make a dangerous choice that obviously had severe consequences. Obviously... Cell? Who protected Cell? And again... Vegeta and Piccolo were complicit too! Why not talk to them? Dad? Goten asked. He was asking for verification. There was still an explanation. But Goku did not know what to say. He originally said it wasn't right to go after Dr. Chiro because he had not technically done anything wrong yet. But looking back, he realized that decision was also based on his desire to fight. Gohan's right. He put his desires before the safety of his friends, his family, and even the Earth. And so did Vegeta, who threatened to kill you all! God! This whole complaint doesn't make any sense! Gohan wasn't even going to bother into the other examples. His expression on his father's face had showed that he understood. He wiped a few lingering tears from his cheeks as he took a deep breath to address his father once more. My entire life you caused me pain. You never truly been there for me. Except for the 4 or 7 years. Now I realize you never will. If you had been around, you know that tomorrow morning we are moving up to North City because of my job. While this news was surprising to hear, nothing could prepare for Goku was about to hear next. Gohan continued. Once we move, you are to never contact us again. Go on! Chi-Chi and Videl gasped. Gohan remained unresponsive to them as he glared intensely at his father. The same look he gave his enemies in battle while he was trying to protect Earth. Except now he was trying to protect his daughter, an unborn child, from someone who had been the cause of so much pain in his life. After seeing Pan cry when you left the tournament last year, I made myself a promise. You'll never be allowed to hurt her again. I will not have her suffer the way I suffered. So didn't that be up to Pan? With that, Gohan started to make his way towards the door. He started the other members of his family had been dragged into this conversation. When he was more sorry, he let his father cause so much hurt. He was now putting an end to it. My God, you're a selfish twit. Wait! Goku shouted as he took a few steps towards his son. Everything seemed so real. Less than a few hours ago, he had been free from any worries. And now his son was telling him he never wanted to see him again? What was happening? As he struggled to come to terms with the reality of the situation, he was beginning to question all the choices he made in his life, and how they had an effect on his family and friends. Had he really been as selfish as Gohan made out to be? The more he questioned himself, the more he was filled with guilt over what his son had said. He couldn't let him leave like this, he just couldn't. Gohan, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. Please don't leave like this. Gohan turned back towards his father. The image brought him back forward when he teleported to Cell, the King Kai's planet. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. I'm sorry for being such a fuck up. His own voice echoed in his mind. Does it at last year determined? He waited so long to hear his father apologize for his behavior. Was just him alone? Perhaps he could have given him another chance. However, that wasn't the case. He has children to think about. Their safety and happiness came before all else. He took a breath. It's too late to apologize. It's too late. He said, fighting back more tears. Oh, God. This caused those around to let a small gasp as he realized what was happening. After all this time, it was come down to this. Gohan continued. Everyone else may forgive you for what you've done, but I can't. I won't let you hurt my son or daughter the way you've hurt me. While Goku was trying to digest the information he received, something stood out on him. Son? Gohan bit his lip and shut his eyes. He had meant to say the information. Not this way, at least. What do you mean, son? Gohan turned to Videl, who had shut her eyes to take a deep breath. They only just found out yesterday the sex of the baby, as he had been planning on making the announcement after Gohan blew out the candles to the cake. Of course, it didn't go as expected. Now everyone in the room was hearing for the first time. Sighing, Gohan turned back to his family, where they all had eyes on him. He addressed his father directly. Videl's pregnant. We found out yesterday it's going to be a boy. Videl? Goku asked for confirmation. The woman had her eyes closed, trying to relax, simply nodding in confirmation. It's going to be a boy, Cici exclaimed. Oh, of course you would be happy as a boy, you bitch! Quick smile crossed her face, but dissipated when she remembered what her son just said. Goku was never going to see the child. Well, I mean, teleportation, training, yada yada yada. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. Gohan said, referring to his brother and mother. What's easy to realize was starting to dawn on Goku. Gohan, we can fix this. Gohan took a deep breath. You said that you tried to do whatever you can to protect your family. Now I'm doing what I can in order to protect mine. But if we... Goku started to respond, was cut off by Gohan held his hand up. Already said it. It's too late! I can't trust you around them. You made your decisions and now I'm making mine. Tomorrow we're leaving and that's the last you'll see of us. Oh good, does that mean the story's over? Oh shoot, I forgot 20 more chapters! And then towards Goku. You abandoned me for the last time! Ending with that, he left. Quietness descended upon the Sun household as the door shut behind Gohan. Goku felt the urge to go after him, but his plan knew it was fruitless. Instead he stood there, trying to come to terms with what occurred. By the looks of it, Goten and Chi-Chi were grappling with the same thing. Right before their eyes, their family was splitting apart. Gohan watched past Piccolo with Videl at his side. Gohan, care to make some complaints towards Piccolo? Want to try to complain to Piccolo? Say something? The man also kind of ruined your life when you think about it. Gohan. Hey, Gohan!
You sure this is the route you want to take?
Piccolo asked. No. Gohan stopped to face him. It's not the route I want to take, but it's the route I have to take. He said. He's making his choice, now I'm making mine. The two stared at each other for a moment before Piccolo nodded him. He couldn't pass his judgment on his pupil for his decision. I can! He experienced firsthand the pain that laid within Gohan. The emotional strife that the demi-Saiyan had been through. Tonight, everything came to a head. He served his purpose of making sure Gohan was safe.
I guess this is good night then. I'll be back in the morning to see you off.
Good night, Piccolo. Gohan replied before Namekian took off in the air. He and Videl walked to their home. As Videl watched her husband shut the door behind him, she realized that any hopes he had of him salvaging his relationship with his father had been destroyed. However, she was starting to understand where he was coming from. As he turned towards her, he saw the years of hurt in his eye. While so many things still rushed through her head, she found one thing to be clear. She did not blame him for anything he had said tonight. I do! The two looked at each other in silence, both wondering what the other was thinking. Finally, Videl spoke up. Gohan, how come you never told me the thing you mentioned in there? Yeah, why not? In response, Gohan looked towards the ground. I guess I never wanted you to know who my father really was. Maybe I never wanted to admit to myself either. Or maybe it's a contrived coincidence and this officer's just making up bullshit. Before they continued to discuss it, Mr. Satan walked through the kitchen door.
Everything okay?
Yes. He then come in wondering what the situation was. Gohan looked up at his father-in-law and put on his best smile. It'll be good, Mr. Satan. It will be. I deeply apologize for what happened earlier. Words alone cannot express how sorry I am for my actions. Is everyone okay? Mr. Satan nodded his head and tried to make light of the situation.
They're fine. Heck, I managed to cause more ruckus at parties than I was younger. Ha ha ha!
Gohan giggled slightly. After everything that happened, he appreciated his father's ability to joke around. Even Zero was offbeat. Where's Pan?
Oh. We're upstairs to our room. Ice King was helping her get ready for bed.
Mr. Satan replied. I better go see her. Gohan said as he excused himself. As he made his way upstairs, he became increasingly nervous about how his star was going to react to him after everything that had happened. All he wanted to do was protect her, but tonight he let her down. He didn't know what he would do if she hated or even feared him. Oh my freaking... It's up to her, Gohan! Let her be her own girl! Stop being this overprotective Nimrod! And what happened? Being a father meant everything to him. I hope his actions that night had not jeopardized his relation to her. When Gohan made his way upstairs, Mr. Satan moved closer to his door.
What happened?
Apparently more than I ever knew. As Gohan ventured along the upstairs hallway, he noticed a dim light coming from one of the guest rooms. Since he did not hear any voices, he approached silently. When he reached the door, he saw his grandfather on a big recliner, Dara curled up next to him. The storybook that laid across Oxy's chest suggested the two had fallen asleep while reading a story together. It's not the first time Gohan had encountered the two like this, and he hoped it wouldn't be the last. A soft smile covered his face as he entered the room and gently placed the book on the nightstand. He then proceeded to dim the light some more, and ever so carefully picked up Pan and carried her to her room. As he unfolded the sheets and placed the star in her bed, notice how peaceful she looked. Her demeanor was now in stark contrast to the events that had taken place earlier that day. He noticed she would never have to go through something like that again. He pressed it and dragged a few strands of hair from her face as he finished tucking her to bed. I hope you're not angry with me, Pan, he whispered. I love you and never do anything to hurt you. I'm so sorry for what happened today. Just remember, you'll never grow up, and I'll never let you out of this house. A single tear made his way down his cheek as he further beamed himself inside for what he had done. Oh my fucking... He sighed and gently kissed the star on the forehead before turning towards the door. Daddy? Pan said half asleep. Eh? Daddy. Pan? I'm sorry for what happened. I'm sorry for scaring you. It's okay, Daddy. I'm not mad at you. But why did you hit Grandpa? Did you want to fight him like I did? Because that's really cool. Gohan looked at the star sympathetically. Elsie explained the situation to her. Grandpa really hurt me today. Actually, Grandpa has hurt me a lot. When I saw him, I got angry and did something stupid. How did Grandpa hurt you? Well, do you remember last year during the tournament? And how sad it was for you to see him leave? Well, when I was a little older than you. A lot older! You were 11! Grandpa left for 7 years, leaving Grandpa to raise me and Goten by myself. Only time he has gone, but during those 7 years he chose to stay away from us. He was doing it for our protection, but it still made me sad, like when he left the tournament. Gohan had to take a deep breath to focus on his words. You could tell his daughter was a little bothered by the news. She had been not told yet about Cell and the occurrences during those times. Why not talk about Cell? It was a big event of your life. Why not talk about that? Did you really just not talk about anything during that? You know, I'm far more accepting of not telling people about certain family members. But big events like that, no! Just, no! Times he was absent during my childhood, and how sad it made me. So I saw today I became very upset because he had been along so long and didn't care. Lost control did something I shouldn't have. I'm very sorry, Pan. Pan thought deeply for a moment. He spoke up. Okay, I understand. Grandpa made you upset. Can I go to bed now? It's not your fault, Grandpa. He had to pause. How quickly was he going to say this? Grandpa has done some things that really hurt me. And I just don't want to see him hurt you the same way. This is why after tomorrow, we aren't going to see Grandpa for a long time. Dad, isn't that my choice?
You have no choice, Pawn. I will control your life. I will control everything about you, no matter what. Today, you have no more freedom.
Okay, it didn't end like that, but would you be surprised?